and hit go live in YouTube. And I'm going to record here. And I'll note the time. It's 7:03 p.m.
Okay, perfect. Well,
I apologize. My apologies for being late. I was my WebEx all of a sudden said I needed to update it.
don't worry, we're glad you can make it. Okay, so welcome everybody to the February 11th meeting of the Energy and Environment Commission. This meeting is held electronically to comply with the government state Safe Minnesota order and ensure the safety of all residents and staff. All members of the EEC are either participating from their homes or office. For members of the commission, please remember to mute your microphone when you're not speaking and to raise your hand when you want to speak. We will have some roll calls for votes for each motion this evening, as well for the adjournment. And I will ask Grace to help us with the roll call after each of the motions. Before we begin, there are a few things I would like to cover to those listening in and watching online. There are no community comments for this meeting. However, if you want to, the city is committed to hearing and receiving your input on matters. So if you want to send your comments, you can do so to the City Council or either to the EEC through the City Council correspondent web form on the city website. The recording of the meeting will also be available to watch on the city webpage tomorrow. So thanks in advance for your patience as we work to conduct this meeting online. Thank you everybody for turning in tonight, for your interest in the EEC and our work in the city. So I will ask Grace if you can help us with the roll call.
Sure thing. Commissioner DeCane, Commissioner Haran,
Here.
Commissioner Hushin, Commissioner Manser,
Present.
Commissioner Seeley,
Here.
Commissioner Lanzis, Chair Martinez,
Here.
Commissioner Mans,
Here.
Commissioner Densmore, and Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
Okay. So the next meeting of the agenda, it will be the approval of the meeting agenda. So if anybody has comments or any revision for the agenda, do you want to say it? Or if everybody agree, we can move it forward. Yeah, so should we do a motion to move the agenda forward?
So moved.
Second.
So can you do the roll call, Grace, please?
Yes. Commissioner Haran,
What am I? Aye.
Commissioner Manser,
Aye.
Commissioner Seeley,
Aye.
and Chair Martinez.
Aye. Okay, the next meeting is the approval of the minutes of the last session of the January session. So I don't know if anybody has comments on those those minutes. So if nobody has comments, I propose to move the minutes forward.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So Grace, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Manser,
Aye.
Commissioner Seeley,
Aye.
and Chair Martinez.
Aye. So our next item in the agenda are the reports and recommendations, and well, most of it has to do with the items on the work plan. And right now the work plan has 4 active, I'm trying to open my work plan. It has 4 active items. The first one is so sorry, Grace, do you want us to go in order of the work plan or the way you have it in the agenda to report each of them? You're muted, Grace.
Apologies. Let's go through the order of the work plan itself, and we can provide updates in that order.
Okay.
And I'll reshare my screen so everyone can see it.
Okay. So as you know, the first item in the work plan is the climate action plan. And last meeting in January, you accept the charges that were developed by Grace and Anna and Peter. So the city opened the recruitment for the working group members. However, we didn't receive the amount of members that we thought that we were going to have. We only received 12 applications, and in fact they were no very diverse. Like they didn't represent like the community of Edina. So at the same time that we were evaluating the applications, Grace was evaluating the consultants that were going to help us with the climate action plan. So the two main consultants that they think are the strongest one that could do the action plan, they are proposing to, one of their activities they are proposing is to have a working group, a broader working group, because we were only thinking about having 7 people in the working group. The consultants are thinking of having a much broader working group that represent all like the different, the community that have different stakeholders. They are thinking of a working group between 20 or 30 people. And so we were discussing between Grace and I that maybe if we have 2 working groups, we will have some kind of issues, because maybe the ones in the EEC won't know if they're being heard, or maybe we could have some conflicts. So we decided that it was better. It was a better idea to go with a group of that the consultant was proposing, because it was going to be bigger. We're going to make sure that it will be like the representation of the community, that it will involve all the stakeholders. So we decided to not like to like don't we want to move on to keep like to do a working group for the climate action plan as we were thinking. I don't know what I want to open this to the discussion, but this was our decision. With these people that apply to this working group, we're going to reach out to them and ask them if they want to be considered for the working group of the consultants. And if they say that they are interested in keeping working with the climate action plan, we will send their application to the consultants, and the consultants will evaluate if they are if these people represent what they are looking for, the multi-stakeholder group that they are considered. So basically, this is the update that we have until now for the climate action plan. I maybe Grace can give us a little bit more on the consultant side, if they have chose a consultant for the climate action plan. But basically, that is like the decision on not doing the working group anymore.
So how many people are you looking for then total?
For our great working group, we were considering 7, but 3 of them were going to be from the commission. So in fact, it was going to be 4 only from outside.
So, but if that goes away, you're saying that goes away.
Yeah, the other one is they are considering between a group of between 25 or 30, more or less, right, Grace? So
That's
it's
right.
a bigger group with much more different actors, not only community members. They also want to include, I think, businesses and other stakeholders of the community that eventually could have a say on the climate action plan. Richard, yeah.
Oh,
I think.
go ahead.
Yeah, Alisa.
Well, I'm curious, a couple things. First of all, how are they going to be recruiting people? I'm just wondering, when did you say that there were 12 people that applied through the application that was put out already?
Yes.
I'm just curious how, and maybe it doesn't matter, but I'm just curious if we know what their tactics are for finding people in the community that we aren't finding or whatever. And I feel like, I think we've probably all sat on those meetings where, that reminds me of like the comp plan meetings then. And then it when you get to numbers like that, again, it's not for me to say because obviously this is their job and I have no doubt that they know how to organize these groups and get the feedback and information that they're wanting from this group. But when you get to numbers like that, it looks much different than a 7 or 10 person working group.
You know what? Also, the thing, another reason to decide that it was that in the end we of those 12 people, like a little bit half of them, they have knowledge in not only in climate change, in environment, greenhouse gas emissions. Those people have worked in this kind of theme. So that was one of the things we were discussing with Grace, that eventually we were hiring, the city is hiring a consultant to do the climate action plan. And we were gonna work with them like, we're not going to develop it. So in the end, we didn't know if what we were looking more for people of the community to be part of the working group, no? Like more diverse. And we were having mostly male people, were the ones, like 10 were male, most of them more than 40. So it wasn't really a very representative of the community. Yeah. And they were all mostly technical people. So we said if we bring them, we could have issues between them and the client and the consultant, because in the end, probably they think they will need to participate more because they are technical people than the consultant. That's why our first thought was to do another process to try to broaden and bring the more diverse groups, like having more women, more younger people. But in the end, then we said, well, then we'll still have two groups. So that's why we decided it was better to have just one. But I don't know, maybe Grace wants to talk a little bit more about what the consultants are proposing with the group.
Yeah, I can share a little bit now and maybe more during about, because the approach to community engagement is one of the reasons staff is recommending this consultant to City Council for approval above other consultant proposers. But as Hilda mentioned, we were running these two processes simultaneously, received the results of our working group outreach, and noted the homogeneity of the applicants. Meanwhile, we're interviewing consulting proposers and listening to their approach to community engagement. And this, what initially was viewed by the staff interviewers as a conflict for consultant proposers who were proposing this other group, a larger group that includes institutional representatives as well as community members who would be involved as it related to their community connections within Edina. We ultimately saw an opportunity to streamline those efforts and reimagine the working group. From a technical perspective, it doesn't change the fact that this group still makes its recommendations to the EEC on a regular basis. it also doesn't change the EEC's oversight for member selection. What it does change is who is doing the recruiting and for how many people or how many representatives. And so the other thing I'll mention is that staff is recommending the consultant to the council on February 17th, next Tuesday. In anticipation of approval, the consultant would start working pretty swiftly. And so we imagine a reopening of recreation of the working group, starting to recruit members by late February or early March. So there is a delay, but we see it as one that is a worthy delay given the effort to get representative voices to the table.
Fair enough. Can you share who the consultant is that they're recommending?
Yes, and I think it's okay that I do it now and not as staff comment, but we are recommending this consultant Blue Dot. So feel free to stick them in your Google, and maybe I'll talk more about the process and how we landed on them during staff comments.
I was going to reiterate what Melissa said, just the number 20 to 30 people. I think it's great to get diverse groups, but it kind of sounds more like an informational gathering session group, when you have that many voices, just because I think you can't get work done. I think we're at the point where we want to get work done. And so I don't see how you're going to get 20 to 30 people actually doing the work anyways. It just sounds like a lot of people. And I don't know if that's an effective way to do the work. It's one thing to find out, info gathering, is this the right path to go down to or go down? But I'd be curious to see why they think 20 to 30 people that it would need to get enough opinions on actually the details of a climate action plan.
Yeah, I think that it would be best to let them come on board and describe the process themselves, but I do understand it as essentially the recruitment of this broad group that is then engaged in segmented meetings. So it's not, they are not only together only as the 25 people, and they're often smaller groups. So
I have a question about the working group. Just and maybe you don't know this yet because maybe the consultant is still figuring out how it's gonna work. But how different is it gonna be from the working group? Because the idea of the working group was for them to. And I know you just mentioned that they're gonna meet in smaller groups, but is it gonna be just like a check-in at key points in the process, or is it gonna continue to be a frequent, a more consistent thing? I guess.
I'm not sure that I can totally answer that. I think again, it's going to be most useful, and the timing. It's too bad we're not meeting next Thursday and not this one. But the structure of the working group, if anything, will be more involved in the process rather than less.
Grace, do you think that for the next meeting they will be able to present something for us, the consultant?
I think that's totally reasonable. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
I'm curious how they're planning on. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Par.
Okay.
Go ahead, Peter.
I'm curious how they're planning on finding or recruiting greater diversity than last time, because it seems to me like the number of people in the group isn't really the problem. It's finding a diverse range of applicants so that we can have that number, whatever number of people we want, so that it can be diverse. So how are they planning on doing that?
Yeah, and I think this would necessarily be part of their presentation at the next meeting. But from what I understand is that they would include more analog approaches. So not only reaching out through technological or virtual methods, and they have part of their project team has prior experience in Edina working on public health issues and has demonstrated experience working with harder to reach groups. So we're confident that they'll be drawing on that experience and those existing connections to bring about a more representative group.
Richard.
I think it's great if we can rely on their expertise, and if they've had some success in trying to pull out, you know, more engagement from a diverse group. I think that's great. I do question the numbers a little bit. If they get a quality group of 20 people, you know, great. I think that sounds a little challenging to me, but the concept I like.
Okay, I don't know. Anybody else? I don't have my. I cannot see all of you. Yeah, I guess that that's an important thing to know from the consultant to know about a little bit more about the process they are trying to have with this working group. So I think it will be great if we can have a presentation from them next meeting.
Yeah, my only question would be: is this aspirational, or do they really think they can achieve that goal?
Well, I think one of our I don't know if it's the EEC or the city, but I think that we should make sure that it's accomplished, that they really work with this group. Like, I think that's one of the things that we can try to make that clear, right, Grace?
Yes, and as I'll reiterate that the EEC continues to manage this process, and so accountable to accomplishing the aspects of the plan that we've committed to.
Okay, perfect. I don't know, anybody has any more comments on the climate action process? No? Okay, so then the next meeting, the next item, it's the one that has to do with it's the to-go packaging ordinance. This is currently being led by Michelle, but I don't know if she has anything to report at this point. Michelle.
Yeah, actually, we do. We've been working fast on a advisory communication to go to council, and we've got kind of our first rough draft. And then on next Tuesday and Thursday, we're holding stakeholder meetings. So they will, Grace has sent out emails to, is it basically restaurants that we have emails to?
Yep.
So restaurants that we license, so we have their emails, and it's we sent an invite to these meetings explaining that there is this proposed to-go packaging ordinance coming up. So is it 2 on Tuesday and 10 on Thursday? And so I'll be there, Grace, Twyla, we've got Andre and Mallory from Hennepin County being there. They're going to kind of support the Hennepin County's waste reduction new requirements. And hopefully Melissa and Anna and Peter, you guys are welcome, but I get you might be in school. But yeah, so we're going to take in some information from them and kind of go from there. But yeah, so it's going along quite rapidly because we're trying to use up all of Melissa's time till she is turned off.
So the meetings are to inform them that the to-go packaging is like a thing going forward, or to like take more like you know, seeing what they think about it, or?
Yeah, so it's to let them know of what is being proposed, and then it still has to be approved. But this is what we're thinking, and so this is their opportunity to give us the feedback, and then we can make better decisions on based on kind of what we hear from them too.
So, for example, those that you are meeting with, are there any of them that that they have like how do you call, like restaurants or in Minneapolis or San Luis, because they are doing that. So like well, these are independent and they're only here in Edina.
Yeah, so right now we don't know who's going to show up. We
Okay.
hope they might let Grace know. What did you say? How many people have opened up the email, Grace? You had a number.
Yeah, about point it's been 70 out of 250. So
Okay.
Are you requesting an RSVP from them, or are we just gonna wing it and see who shows up?
we offered the opportunity to RSVP, and
Okay.
we're seeing who will show up.
So we hope, I really do hope we get a good participation, just because it will help us just know what we're up against. But then if they don't show up, then this is their opportunity to say what they feel, right? Like, so it says, well, they don't care enough, then sure, let's just do what we want. But I hope we do get some people in, especially if some people have read it, or the email, but I guess we'll see.
Okay, well, that's great. So good luck.
Thank you.
So Melissa, you're gonna keep working on that initiative after you leave, or just
No,
till March?
Michelle found the fine print in the city code that says legally I am on this commission until the end of the month. So she is going to stretch this out as long as she can.
Yep. So we got the last day in February till midnight. I'll be sending her emails at midnight.
She's gonna work me. Happy to help.
Great, very good. So, well, thank you, Michelle. The initiative number 3 is really not active right now, so we should skip that one. The fourth one is the one related with the green building policy, which is we still haven't any activity on that one. Initiative number 5 has to do with the business recognition program, and it's also led by Michelle. I know you sent some information. I don't know if you want to discuss it. I have some questions about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we did put out a survey, and we've gotten some responses. So, sent it to our 11 recognized businesses, and I sent it to a couple that weren't recognized and haven't heard back from those. The good news is so far, it seems all fairly positive. There's one business, we have the question that asked if they would want to be recognized again, and there was one business who said no. I'm really curious to know who that is, because they had the option of putting their names of who they were, but they didn't have to, so that person did not. So, but otherwise, everybody said yes, they were interested, and yes, we could kind of keep going. We're going to meet a little bit. The eval team is going to meet just after our meeting, just to go over and talk a little bit about the results. But that's where we are right now, and then we have to talk next steps is also with Grace.
So Michelle, I saw that the putting the PDF in in the web page was good thing, right? Because when you were filling it online, they mentioned that they couldn't go back and revise it, right? So by having the PDF, it's a good thing, right?
Right. I think, Grace, that it's not like they would have to, if that was the only thing they filled out, they would have to mail it in, right?
Yeah, but like because before that you have to go through all the and you don't know how much things they were going to ask, and now you know, and then you can. So I guess that was one good thing that came out of the survey, right?
Yep.
And also one of the things that I saw is that they do value the program, but I think they still feel they need to be more recognized. Like, so I was wondering, Grace, because I know that they're in the webpage. Like if you go to the business recognition, there's the gold and the silver, and they mention them. But I don't know if we could, like, every, I don't know, a couple of months, I don't know, 6 months or so, like put it in the main page of the city. I don't know if they will feel more like, oh, we're like, being recognized, like, because you have to go to the business recognition web page to see them, right? if no, you don't know who they are, and maybe they want to have a little bit more recognition from the city. I don't know what you think, Michelle.
Yeah, no, if there's any way we can boost the PR on this, I would love it. And I mean, I don't know, Grace, is there just a portion on that landing page of the city that we could just keep the names of those up there, or any place? Because I do think that if we think it's a value for our community, then it has to be easily. I mean, we have to promote it in so many different ways for people to see it.
That's something I can check into, definitely, to see whether we could do it where it comes up on a regular basis, or if there's a permanent. It might be a little trickier to do a permanent location on the landing page, but I'll ask about both options and share back with you what I learned.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, yeah, it looks like they most of them are very happy with the program.
Well, what about I mean, could we do, when we do tweets or blasts that go out, could we highlight those? Could we include them in, when we do, water bill mailings, can you include it on the back of that, or as a insert? I think it's nice to mix up how you get the messaging out.
Actually, that's interesting to put something in the mailer if it's just a little something. That's actually an interesting idea.
Or even during city meetings, you got a little poster on the side, that highlights who those businesses are. I think all those different, all that kind of multimedia messaging, I think, is a good way of kind of getting that out there.
Well, and then it has a snowball effect, right? Because if some other businesses start to see that on a more frequent basis in more ways, they're going to be like, hey, I want my name on that list. So there's no downside to that. I think that's a great idea. And, I mean, again, it's more broadly, it's just about creating that, what's the word I'm just had in my brain, but I mean, if we as a community want to be green or whatever, however you want to label that, that just becomes, again, kind of part of the infrastructure, right? And then once consumers are more aware of that, then they can make some different decisions potentially based on what they know about company A versus company B. And, I mean, it just becomes a bigger thing. So
what about the marquee in front of City Hall? They blast all kinds of stuff up there. I mean, why don't you highlight a couple of the businesses on the marquee?
Yeah, and I also think that you need to do it regularly. I think that that's one of the things they want, because I read that they have the sticker, but I guess they want, like, the city, the community, they know they're doing something because they want to they want to capitalize that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, for example, I mean, the work I do with Opus, when any one of these little blurbs, no matter what it is, it can be highlighting a staff person. I mean, they've got very elaborate timing and distribution plans as far as how that messaging goes out. I mean, it's, they probably have 20 different ways that the message is going to go out, and they time it and sequence it. And, I mean, on the third week, we're going to do this. On the fourth week, we're going to do that. And then they're very deliberate about how many times they maybe put it out. And I mean, it's very methodical as far as how they go about doing that.
So Richard, can you plug our green business application in Opus? We could use a big property management or whatever they are.
Yeah,
to fill it out.
That's a good idea. I should do that.
We would appreciate it.
We're not in Edina, though.
Oh, no.
Ooh,
No.
it's just over the border.
Oh, well.
What is it, Bloomington?
Eden
Eden Prairie, then?
Minnetonka.
Oh, it's
Oh.
Okay.
We're on the wrong side of 169.
Forget it.
Yeah, forget it. Fine.
So Grace, then can you talk with communications or to see if they can help us on this and maybe give some ideas?
I can talk with communications. I would definitely also encourage Michelle and the Green Business Group to include this recommendation in their report. That will certainly bolster any conversations I have internally with staff.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you. I don't know, do you want something else, Michelle, on the
No,
business?
I think that's it. I mean, so our evaluation is supposed to be done in Q1, right? So I think we'll make that deadline, and then hopefully, yeah, and hopefully, can I say something about the article, Grace?
Yeah, sure.
So
Yes, go ahead.
the Edina magazine is going to have in its April issue a blurb about the program. So hopefully it's approved to keep going, but there you go.
And who is making the decision whether this continues?
Council? I don't know.
I mean, it says report to commission. So who is making the decision whether this program is valuable and should continue?
I think the commission makes that decision based on the findings of the working group now, the commissioner's work now.
So we will have to make that decision in the second quarter based on the report on the report that Michelle does, right?
Yes, assuming that the report is complete in Q1, that will be one of the agenda items, April or May.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else, Michelle, or?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So I guess that is the last initiative because the other two, which is the one, the other two are the initiative number 6 has to do with the Conservation and Sustainability Fund, and it's not for this quarter. And the last one is the one with the Transportation Commission, and we will have to wait for them to give some recommendations. So that is not an ongoing initiative. So for the work plan, that will be it. I guess the next sub item is the Clean Cars Minnesota. So I don't know, Grace, do you want to? You're gonna say the decision on the Clean Cars Minnesota, or is Michelle?
I can, but Michelle, you're welcome to update the commission.
So we sent the resolution for approval to the council, and their step was to approve or to vote to read the resolution. So that's what happened at last meeting. So they did agree that they would consider it. So now the next, and it would go on their consent agenda. So in the meeting on the 17th, they will either approve the whole, so they'll approve the whole consent agenda. And if they approve the resolution, it will be a part of that consent agenda, right? Otherwise they would pull it out and not approve it, right?
That's right. Because the Clean Cars Minnesota effort is not explicitly part of the EEC's work plan, it had to come to the council as an advisory communication first to request that the council agree to hear a resolution of support. So they agreed to hear that resolution at their February 2nd meeting, and then the resolution itself is on the consent agenda this coming week, and they can handle it in one of two ways. They can approve the consent agenda wholesale, all items. They can also pull items for discussion and approve or reject those separately. Typically, they approve everything wholesale. So,
can I give a little update of what's going on with that at the state level?
Sure.
So it's being held up by the Republicans in the Senate in committee. Basically, for some reason, the Republicans are making this a priority to be anti-clean cars. So they're actually making a priority to make it not happen. And so right now they're going through all the comment period. And if anybody is willing to write a letter in support of this, we're trying to get as much support to the, what's it called? The, whatever judge is listening to it, he's got a special name. The person judge, whatever it is. Trying to get as many positive pieces of whatever, either through, I think there's some websites, but if anybody's willing to write a letter and send it, I can get a template and share that with you. I'm going to be writing something, but like I said, for some reason, the Republicans are just making this their issue to focus on for some reason.
Do you know why?
I think there's probably auto lobbying efforts, which they're really, so that's what their claim is. It's going to be damaging to the auto industry here, the auto dealership. But there's also a lot of false information, go figure, that's being sent around. Like they're saying like, oh, I can't have my big heavy truck. They're talking like agriculture is going to be affected and semi trucks, and it's just lightweight, light duty trucks and passenger cars. But there's a lot of hype and misinformation about it.
But the dealership lobby is usually, I mean, the reason they're so strong is it's not so much that they're anti electric car. They don't want to upset the current status quo of the distribution model of going to the dealership, and a lot of the new electric cars like Tesla and that are bypassing the dealership model, and they're doing more sell direct type thing. So that's what, I mean, it's my understanding that that's what they're really fighting.
That's a good question. I just, but when GM, so I wondered, but then like, does that mean General Motors, they're getting rid of gas powered cars?
Well,
like, are they going to get rid of the dealership model? And
but a lot of the new pickup trucks and the heavier duty trucks that are coming out, I mean, they're not planning on having distributorships. They're planning on doing more of the Tesla model where you order it direct and it shows up at your house. And, there might be a little boutique shop someplace that you can go and touch them, but that you don't really buy it through the dealership anymore. And that's what these guys are really fighting.
Right.
So then are the dealership more the ones that are opposing it, not the. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, the crazy thing is it's going to change, right? I mean, you've got all these companies that are committing to EVs. So, the change is going to happen. Fight it a bit. But the problem is like for us, if we want EVs right now, we're not going to get the
models, right?
Right. Yeah. So they're going to give it to the 14 states that already have this, or the 19 states, I think 14 states that already have this before we're going to get it. So if they should be concerned about their constituents, perhaps, and our choice. But
yeah. So does it helps that Edina has this resolution that, like, do you think we can like put it in the comments of this judge that you mentioned, or we can send them like? Does it?
Yeah.
It's helpful.
So if they do pass it, then we can take that as a formal a sign of support that would then go to the judge, and any other comments. So I can send Grace if anybody's interested in. Well, I think Richard, you did, didn't you? Go online and I can't even remember what I've been asking.
Oh, I did their online.
Yeah.
I did the online thing.
I did one, and I don't know for whom, for 350 or for somebody.
Yeah, there's so much. But if anybody wants to do an additional, or know any other people that would mind writing letters or actually standing up and speaking, I just need a lot of people to voice a positive opinion for this.
If you want to send me the info, I will try to share it.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
Because I don't know if we can sign so many letters. I don't know how.
Yeah, if you can send a draft letter out, that'd be great. I'd be on that.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hope it passes in the city so they can use it for support. Perfect. So anything else on that, Michelle, or no? No? Okay. So, okay, the next item on the agenda, it's chair and members comment. So I want to take this opportunity in this item to acknowledge both Richard and Melissa for their 6 years in the commission. I know you've been volunteer for quite a while. I know that you have moved several programs forward, like the organic recycle program and the electricity plan for Edina, and I probably much more that I don't know. But I just want to, as a current as current member of the commission and as a chair, I just want to thank you for your time, for your commitment, because I know you've been very helpful for this commission and for the city. So I just want to thank you and wish you the very best, and you will be greatly missed. And I hope that eventually you can keep working with us either to any other initiative that we have and have a working group and we need more volunteers. We'll be happy to have you back. So thank you. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if somebody else wants to say anything. Michelle?
We are going to miss you guys. Talk about knowledge and history and voice of reason and, you know, being able to see both sides, but clearly standing up for the side that I'm on.
Most importantly.
No, but seriously, I think we're going to miss your opinions and your bright ideas and everything. And I feel like I'm going to be like the old lady. I am the old lady, both figuratively and literally. Anyway, I'm going to be sad to miss, we're going to miss you greatly, but yeah, don't worry. We're going to find ways to lure you back in.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time. I don't know if any of you wants to say anything. I know most of us are new, but yeah, I know the work.
Yeah, well, I'll say a few things. This has been, it's been a fun sandbox for me to play in too. It's really fun. Seriously, it's kind of fun merging some of the things that I do, professionally and bridging that with some of the things that I'm passionate about, environmental things I'm passionate about, and seeing some of them take traction within the city. That's rewarding, and it's fun to see. It never seems to happen as fast as you want it to happen, but that's the nature of the beast. But it's fun to be part of a community that values the input that we provide. I wish sometimes, like, the diversity and the broader engagement across the city. I wish I've tried hard with people that I know living in the city here, and boy, it's amazing how difficult it is. It's to get people engaged and participate. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, next. It's like, so yeah. That's been challenging, but it's been rewarding, and it's been fun. No, the whole compost thing. Melissa, Michelle, that you guys really spearheaded. That was really, really fun to see that kind of take off and take hold. And we're not out of the woods yet, but I think it's definitely got some, it's got some traction going here. That's a pretty exciting one for me. And then, yeah, so that's a couple of thoughts that I have.
Well, I don't know how I could top that, but yes, it has been all the things, a learning experience. I've met people that I probably might not have otherwise crossed paths with. Yes, to say that things haven't moved as quickly as I might have liked is the biggest understatement I could probably make about my time on the commission. But yes, it's been great. And I appreciate all the time and energy everybody puts into this, because like you said, Richard, it's easy to say, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'd be willing to volunteer to do X, Y, or Z, and very few people actually do stand up and do it. So I appreciate all of your time, everybody, and thanks for letting me join in for a while.
Oh, well, thank you.
I have one more quick comment, and that is, in parts of this are student members, is, you know, these are just such great opportunities to just throw yourself out there and you know, take charge of committees, eventually, you know, take, you know, or like Hilda threw herself out there, and as far as being the lead of the group here, being the chair. I mean, those kinds of skills that you gain in organizing meetings and running meetings and communicating with council, all those things are just invaluable experiences. So, you know, just, you know, sometimes it's difficult and it's challenging and it's hard, but man, you learn so much from those things. So just throw yourself out there and keep doing it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's too bad we are not together, because we could have done a party or something to celebrate your 6 years. With drinks or something.
We could have had
but
cake.
maybe in the future, maybe in the summer, things are better. But really, thank you. So I don't, well, I think that's part of our chair and members' comments. And now it's the next item is staff comments. So Grace, I don't know if you have any comment.
Yeah, well, I'll add a little bit more. Well, first I'll add to the thanks for Melissa and Richard. It's been a pleasure, too brief, but I've appreciated that our paths crossed. I hope and expect that they will again. But I did want to add a little bit more detail about the process to select the consultant for the climate action plan. So the city put out an RFP, a request for proposals, at the end of December. I think I updated you all on that at our December meeting. We received 10 proposals, split fairly evenly, about half from Minnesota or the Midwest and about half from national firms. We had a staff group of 7 staff who are subject matter experts across efforts to reduce climate change or the effects of climate change or to adapt to those. So we had water experts, forest experts, engineering, community engagement, race and equity, myself, review the proposals, and we ultimately interviewed 4 firms. Over the course of a few days, we heard presentations from those firms about their vision for what a response to climate change in Edina would look like, and specifically how they would weave in the city council value statements around sustainability, community engagement, and race and equity. We, out of those 4, two were Minnesota based, 2 were national. Out of those 4, we did move forward with extending a recommendation for Pale Blue Dot, who is a local firm here in the Twin Cities. You can check them out. They have worked with a variety of national, state, tribal, city governments. We were really pleased with their approach, particularly around community engagement and the concept of co-ownership of all of the aspects of a climate action plan between community members. When we reviewed their proposal from a triple bottom line approach, which is how the city is increasingly and explicitly approaching decisions, we determined that from an economic perspective, from a community perspective, and from an environmental perspective, they really rose to the top. And so we're excited to start working with them. You'll meet the project team, I think, at the March meeting, assuming that the council does accept the staff recommendation at their meeting on Tuesday to go ahead and bring them on board. So that's where we're at. We're pretty excited to kick it off, despite the delay in bringing together a resident working group. We still anticipate delivering a climate action plan by the end of 2021 to council. So this is the next step in that. And that's the main update I wanted to share with the group today.
Okay, thank you. Anybody has any doubts about what Grace comment, or you're all good? No comments? Okay, so I guess then we have to do the adjournment for today. So I don't know if you want to do
I
So
will-
moved.
Ah! Richard and I will move in a second.
Move and okay, perfect. So do you want to do the roll call, Grace?
Yes. Commissioner Haran,
Aye.
Commissioner Manser,
Aye.
Commissioner Seeley,
Aye.
Chair Martinez.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you very much to everybody. Take care, Richard and
And
Melissa.
Peter and Grace, remember to
You
stay
guys
home.
take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
You all.
Okay, you're staying? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey all. Thanks.
Hello. Let me stop the recording before we continue. And I apologize. Let me just get our YouTube stream also stopped. Okay.